more information comes out. We find out on our own, going down to the courthouse, that the guy never had a warrant on him, and he was never even had a criminal record. Another lie perpetrated by, we can either say the police spokeswoman or the police department themselves. We've got fish here. We learned then that this officer has over 24 reprimands. You tell me of any other job where you get that many reprimands and you keep your job, and I want to go work there. That's right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay. And then we find out finally, not only do those reprimands cover the spectrum of everything from technically bribery, embezzlement, danger with a car, reckless driving, hitting a guy with a flashlight. I mean, this cop is a obvious. Okay. Well, I don't want him to step in and say he's organizing this when we are the one getting on the line. The front line.
I'm not leaving.
Okay. You've had your mayor time, Ellis. We understand.
Yeah. Can we, because this sheriff...
Basically, it's coming out in the open. It's becoming transparent that this has probably been going on for, if not decades, years. Okay. If an officer has 26 plus reprimands in his folder, and he's not getting reprimanded per se, there's something fishy. Then we find out from another officer recently in the news that there was another officer with 70 reprimands that they don't name. I mean, what kind of system are they running inside there? And this goes above the officer because you have bosses. The bosses, unlike Mr. Ellis's comment, I think bosses are responsible. They are to blame. They do the hiring, they do the firing. These guys should go just as much. I mean, it's just. I think it's an indictment of what this city's been going through for years. It's just no one's ever stood up to it. Our so-called community leaders and politicians don't have the guts to step out because they're afraid they might not get votes, they might not get pockets lined, or whatever. Look who shows up here. We have, what, 2 community leaders, an ex-community leader, and then Mr. Fickling shows up. At least he shows up. Where are the rest of them? Where is, and I believe it's Lauren Benedict, correct me if I'm wrong, that is the city councilwoman of that area that Mr. Davis lived in? That Kroger, that area, I believe, that's her district. Why isn't she speaking up? Where's Marion Paris? Marion Paris lives on Swanee Avenue, parallel to Hillcrest where my mom lives. She has a house there, up from that Kroger. Where's Marion Paris? None of them are out here saying anything. They're scared or they just don't care because all they want to do is get the prestige, the name plaque, the statue, or whatever, and the paycheck, and they don't want to really do the work. And it's sad that it takes a ragtag bunch of guys like us that have no horse in the race, other than we just think human rights is very important and a sacred thing. We have no horse in the race. We're not getting paid for this. We don't get a paycheck from it. And we realize that this is a miscarriage of justice, plain and simple. And I don't care how many days we need to investigate. This investigation shouldn't take this long. The police department is letting the media discover things. The media is discovering this guy's record. The media is discovering there's no warrant. The media is discovering that, there's other officers that have equally bad records. They're not telling us this. Last I looked, police are supposed to protect and serve. We don't work for you. You work for us. I want the guy fired and put in prison. Officer Clayton Sutton, I want you fired and put in prison. You had no reason. He was unarmed. The first line of defense is taser, mace. Okay? To pull a gun out, they tell their officers that's the last line of defense. The gun is not first. The gun is not the first thing. This officer obviously pulls the gun out first. Yes. Obviously. He's got a record of doing such things as hitting people with flashlights. Recklessly driving with his car. It's a shame and it's a sham the way that they're running this city government and this city police force. And I've got nothing to lose. I got a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids, and you know what? I know I'm doing the right thing. I know it. I am doing the right thing. You can call me an anti-cop guy, you can call me a hater, you can call me whatever. When we look at the record, we are doing the right thing, plain and simple. This is good versus evil, and we are on the good side concerning this matter.
Everyone knew him. He didn't hurt. He didn't represent He wouldn't have hurt anyone. But how can this happen? So we understand how distraught you are, because those of us who knew him casually are distraught of him having been taken away like that. So if there's something you would like to say, if you don't okay, she would like to make a statement.
I just want to say that I'm so glad that you all are here. The people who thought enough just to get to the bottom of what happened to Junebug. Those of you in this city and anywhere in the world who don't know Junebug, I wish you had gotten an opportunity to meet him. He was as meek as a lamb. He was not a violent young man. He wouldn't harm anyone. If you told Junebug to leave me alone, he'd walk away. He shouldn't have died. He shouldn't have lost his life because somebody used some very poor judgment and took that child away from us. Junebug wouldn't do anything to hurt anyone. Don't let this be about black and white. Let this be about right and wrong. I don't care if Clay Sutton had been a zebra. He was orange with red spots. He took an innocent man's life. He needs to pay for it.
Yes.
Every job I've ever had, and I've worked for big Fortune 500 companies down to public sector companies, and I tell you, if I'd been written up and gotten as much trouble as he was, I would have been gone a long time ago. So this seems to me like some trickle-down effect. There's a problem with leadership that we keep somebody like that who's sworn to protect us out here who ultimately caused somebody's death, an innocent person's death. You talk to anybody. I dare you to find someone to say something bad about Junebug. I dare you to find someone. I dare you.
He picked on the wrong person. He had no clue. The officer doesn't even live in Macon. He lives in Warner Robins. He knows nothing about the city.
Y'all just for 6 years. We don't see him off the line.
Let her finish her statement if she.
Thank you all so much. I can't get Junebug back. You just don't know how hard this is, how it hurts my sisters, my nieces and nephews, and all the children. I almost lost my mind. I feel like right now I need to just run up to that emergency room and ask them to admit my heart is heavy, my mind is falling apart. You can't undo what he's done. You can't undo it. He needs to go to prison. They need to lock him up this afternoon. They're a week later doing this. Clay Sutton, you need to go to jail.
Yes.
You need to be punished for what you did.
He said the thunder lightning I wanted to bring and needs to be brought, in my opinion, is that the Macon Police Department does need to be held responsible. Period. Regardless, Mr. Ellis says, we do need to hold them. If you have 26 plus reprimands in your folder, and your boss and his boss and that boss does not know about it, you need to all go. Chief Burns, you need to go. I know consolidation's coming, but look at the legacy you left on the MPD by leaving this story as the last thing we will remember the Macon Police Department for, is this brutal murder of an innocent man. Okay? And I think that has something to do with it. The MPD knows they're going to be no longer around once consolidation hits, okay? Burns, go off into your big castle in the sky. You know, you should be fired. The next person below Burns over Officer Sutton should be fired. Officer Sutton, you should be in jail, prison. And eye for an eye, in my eyes, as harsh as it is, you should get the death penalty, Officer Sutton. You can take that to the bank. All right? If anybody shot a penalty would be after him, and they wouldn't have spent Christmas at home. Guarantee that. Thank you. He doesn't have to care. Just don't bug me in my retirement, you know. And what kind of person runs a business or any sort of department that way? And what kind of person allows a murder and then says, we're still investigating a week later? I mean, who does that? I mean, appreciate it. I figured you might come. Yeah. You're the only one that stands up a little bit with this stuff. But I take it. Appreciate you. No problem. Appreciate all of them. Derek Barrett.
Yeah. No, I have it over now.
We say something that just be laying somebody that they're gonna jump out of
We're gonna let you know right now tomorrow you can show up
and so I'm just so glad you don't know how much it has to be.
No problem, brother.
I
believe
what's your name again?
Anthony Harris.
Anthony.
I'll talk to you again soon.
For donations.